Hey guys, I'm super excited for this video today because it's going to be the first part in a multi-step EMD lending safety series that I'm going to be doing, breaking down each step of the EMD lending process. And today we're going to be focusing specifically on collecting and verifying details so that you are confident in your deal right from the get-go. I hope you learn a lot and enjoy. Who here has no idea how this stuff works? Obviously, the newbies, you guys, I want to be able to speak to you and understand. I'm going to try to keep an eye on the chat over here. So if you guys, if I totally miss something or glaze over something, let me know and I'll try and keep an eye on that. But the whole EMD thing, like I said, can be broken down as a way of putting skin in the game for real estate. So here's your example. If you're buying a house and one person offers $100 as EMD and the other person offers $1,000 as EMD, then the seller will know who's more serious based on how much money is put up. Or you could put it another way and say the seller is going to have more confidence in the person that puts up more money, right? So that's what EMD is doing. That's what that deposit is doing, is it's a goodwill deposit. So typically after a contract is signed, there's going to be a certain amount of time before the EMD is due. Sometimes it's the same day, sometimes it's 3 days, sometimes it's 10 days, right? But there's going to be a set time in the contract that says, after X amount of days, you have to send this EMD in. And so we're going to be talking to wholesalers first, all right? And like I said, if you're not a wholesaler, you can still look at this from the perspective of a wholesaler. So in that time when a property is under contract and you have to submit the EMD, wholesaler has three choices, right? The first choice is, am I going to fund it myself, right? I would say that's maybe the primary option, is the wholesaler just funds it themselves. The next one is, can my end buyer fund it, right? So if you're a wholesaler and you're smart, sometimes you can organize your contract in a way where the end buyer can come in and cover your earnest money so that you don't have to. Fantastic. If neither of those options work for you, then how are you going to fund it, right? That's the third question. If you can't have somebody else fund it, you can't fund it yourself, then how are you going to fund it? And that would be where an EMD lender would come in, right? That is right where we slot ourselves in, is in that scenario. And just so you guys understand why I talk so much about speed and efficiency and systems with this stuff, is that timing, like a lender or a wholesaler is always going to look for better options prior to coming to you, right? So if you have a wholesaler come to you and say, I need EMD submitted, you usually don't have 10 days, right? You usually have somebody that's like, well, I tried to fund it myself and I couldn't get the money together. And then I tried to find a buyer, but I couldn't quite find a buyer yet. So now I'm coming to you in the last minute with throwing up a Hail Mary, right? That is usually how it works. So just be prepared for that. So this is going to bring us to our first step in the lending journey, is when the wholesaler has determined that they are going to request lending from you, right? Our first step is going to be, as the lender, when I say our, I'm speaking as the lender, is going to be collecting the details. So let's talk about every detail that you as the lender are going to need to protect yourself at this step. If you guys have a notebook, pen and paper, your phone, whatever, this is all for you guys. So we're starting out with lending for a wholesaler, like I said. So here's the first writer downer. Details that you need. I'm going to go through these step by step. Go ahead and write them down. I'll give you guys a second and then I'll start going through them. So we're going to start with personal info. All right. Here's some scenarios for you guys. And this will hit home for a lot of you that are in the Financial Foundations group, because you guys have been looking for deals to split with me where I fund it, right? There's a reason why the system is set up the way that it is. If somebody goes and finds a deal and you submit the deal to me and you put your information in, I do not have the information of the person that matters for the transaction. That is why personal info is so important. And that is why you guys fill out referral stuff and then you send the actual person to fill out the form, because I need their personal info, right? If something goes wrong, if stuff hits the fan, anything like that, we're not doing a cat and mouse game. We're not doing a telephone thing. I need to be able to directly communicate with them, and you guys need that same thing. So you got to gather their personal info and verify their personal info, right? Call them, email them, get in contact with them. Because when things go wrong, if you guys are new to real estate, you'll learn, if things go wrong, people magically disappear, right? So you need their contact information as much as you can get. The deal address, right? This is important because you just need to make sure that you are actually working on what you think you're working on. And it's also going to come up later when we talk about mutual release dates. The amount needed. This is an obvious one, but you would be surprised. People put in random stuff sometimes on my form for the amount needed for whatever reason, and they're like, oh, I thought you meant the entire purchase price of the house. I don't understand why they thought that. Maybe I need to be clear. It's usually my fault if anything gets messed up. But the amount needed. Inspection date or inspection period. We will go into this in depth tonight, so don't worry about that. These are the details we need from the wholesaler, correct? The person needing the EMD. Correct, yes. These are the details you get from the wholesaler as the lender that they should be submitting to you. Inspection period, that is a short explanation for people that are new. Inspection period is exactly what it sounds like. It's a period with which you can go inspect the property, or at least that's what it was invented for. And in that period, if you inspect the property and for any reason you decide you no longer want to purchase a house, you can back out during the inspection period and get your money back, right? This is incredibly important for what we're going to be talking about. So that's our inspection period. COE stands for close of escrow, okay? Close of escrow is going to be just when the house is expected to close. Now, again, if you guys are in real estate, you know that that date never seems to work out the way you want it to, but we still want to have an idea. Experience level. This is something I always collect. Kind of hard to verify unless you really dig into it. So, people could lie on this, but I just like to have the info on the experience level. If you guys go on my forum, it says something like, I think it says new or done a few deals or done like a bunch of deals, something like that. Exit strategy. Crucial. Exit strategy is what they plan on doing as the wholesaler, or really not as the wholesaler, as the person. So you want to know, is this person wholesaling the property or are they buying the property? Because there is going to be a massive difference on how we go about lending based on that answer. Wire instructions. If you guys don't know what a wire is, it's just sending money electronically, right? Bank to title company, whatever. There's not a lot of wires that go on in the normal world, but if you get into real estate, it's like all you do. So I send wires constantly, like all day. That's all I do is send wires. So you guys will learn wire instructions are just the numbers. Yep. Make sure you verify it, Kelvin. We will definitely get to that. So the wire instructions are just the numbers that you put in. It's going to be an account number. If you guys want to write this down, there's two things for wire instructions: an account number and a routing number. And that determines, the account basically determines, or actually, sorry, the routing number determines the bank it goes to, and then the account number determines which account in that bank it goes to. All right. So that's your wire instructions, and then the contract. I did not used to have the contract on my thing. Very poor decision, right? But I didn't know. Most everything I've done here, I didn't really have anybody to teach me, so there was plenty of mistakes made. But we're going to go in depth on why the contract is so crucial to have. And so the contract, that is the final and one of the biggest pieces to the puzzle. FYI, you guys just saw all the stuff I talked about. If you don't have a smooth way of collecting that information, you are screwed. I'm just letting you know up front, okay? This is not, if you want to scale a lending business or really even do a few of them, this is not like you can just track it in Google Sheets type thing. I'll get into this more. You guys don't need to stress about this if you're new at all, but just letting you know, that's a lot of information to have to go look up in an email, right? But all of that to say, we're at safety step number 1, all right? I'm going to be doing 8 safety steps total, I think. So this is step number 1. Always confirm information, all right? So what we just talked about was getting all that data, right? And what happens if you get all that data and you just take it at face value, right? You can't just take that stuff at face value. You can't just, it's not even a trust thing with people, like they would lie. It's that people just, a lot of times these people are new, right? So you can't hang that stuff over your head. You just have to understand that you got to go verify. And here's an example of why it's so important. These are screenshots from a request I got literally, I think on Tuesday. So like 2 days ago. So this is my button leads account. You can see in the Gators section, the amount needed was $1,000. So they requested $1,000. It looks like nobody referred them. And then you see the 2 important things I talk about: inspection and COE, close of escrow. Okay. So let's take note of what we see here. April 4th is the inspection expiration. Close of escrow, April 5th. Cool. We don't need to dig any further into that. Just take note. Now we're going to jump down and we're going to check out the contract. So you can see here for the contract that if you look, there's I obviously have the signatures covered up, but it shows the dates that people signed, right? And here's another writer downer for you guys is we want to focus on the effective date of a contract. Effective date of a contract is the date with which it was finalized. So if you guys look at this example, you'll see two different dates, right? You'll see the 17th and the 23rd. If you haven't already picked up on it, the finalization of the contract is when everybody has signed, right? So the effective date would be the 23rd, okay? So that's the first thing I look at to confirm information, is I just go straight to the effective date and figure that out. So here we say, okay, effective date is 3/23. Awesome. Then we're going to go find the inspection period. Now, this is going to take some practice because every state's contracts are different. We have our creative contracts that Pace gives us that make it really easy to find this stuff. But a lot of times the deals that I lend on aren't on those contracts. So you have to go find the inspection period. This one had it in a weird contingency section, and there's some more stuff that I didn't screenshot, but we get the gist here. The buyer needs 10 days for estimates to remove the contingency, okay? If we read on later, this is basically the inspection period. So now we take this data, and this is, just so you guys know, this is what I do on every transaction. Every request that comes in, this is the first stuff that I do. Verify the effective date, figure out the days for the inspection period, then I calculate the inspection period. So if you guys are sitting there right now looking at your calendars, you're probably figuring out the inspection period that we get for this does not equal the inspection period they gave us, right? So let's look. The info given was that inspection ends on April 4th. The contract says the inspection ends on April 2nd, right? If you look at your calendar, the 23rd, and then you add those 10 days, it gets you to April 2nd. So, who do we believe? What might happen if we didn't confirm? I want to zone in on that one, right? So if we didn't confirm this information about the inspection, and we are under the impression that the inspection ends on April 4th, again, that means that we are under the impression that your money is protected until April 4th. That's how that works. Inspection period protects your EMD, the money that you are lending. So, scenario, you get to April 3rd, and you're like, hey, it looks like nobody's going to buy this property. We want to make sure our money's safe. Can we go ahead and get that money back? And the title company's like, oh, yeah, no. Inspection ended yesterday, right? Great. Now you guys have got yourself into either A, you lost all your money, or B, you're going to end up in some sort of a lawsuit or something stupid, all right? So you have to confirm information ahead of time, and we will dig into even more about confirmation because just so you guys know, the inspection ending April 2nd is only my opinion, and that's not even the opinion that matters the most. But this is just me gathering my own data. So, once you have confirmed the information, and just so you guys know, we only confirmed a couple things there, but you want to confirm everything, right? So if the address that came in is 123 Main Street, the address on the contract should be 123 Main Street, right? Don't let them put in the wrong information anywhere. It should all... Basically, they should be giving you the stuff from the contract, and then you should just go verify in the contract, right? You're basically just re-pulling all the information. So once you've confirmed all that, and you move past step one, or if you ever move past without verifying it, then the rest of this stuff is pointless. Because everything that we're about to talk about is operating on a shared belief that we are on the same page, right? That we have the info. So if you don't have that, then you've already screwed yourself. So this safety step number one already for a lot of you guys is probably like, oh, this is not something I may have thought of. You got to do that first.